with Stuart
Wow.
every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern. You think about it, we rant about it. Listen to us live on Facebook.
Happy hump day, everybody. It's Wednesday. It's early May. It's spring. Spring has sprung. Well, in a manner of speaking. And, Stuart, I got to tell you, a couple of days ago, we were talking about how the news cycle kind of gets a little stale, a little tired. We're not 100% sure about what things are going. And then it's as if you drop a grenade into a story and it explodes. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you talk to the CNNs, the MSNBCs of this world, there are different.
Dave, stop. We have to end it and restart it. It died. We're live? No, we are live. I'm sorry, David.
We're live. We're live. So, unfortunately, let's start again. The mass media likes to convince people that there are different tiers of media, and they like to piss on guys like, Axios and all these other ones, and Politico, that are not acceptable media until the grenade that they can throw is big enough to create enough of a stir that meets their agenda. And so, if in case you missed it, which I find it shocking because this has really sent ripples throughout the U.S. as well as in Canada, by the by, because they talk about earthquakes, seismic activity, that Roe v. Wade might be overturned, that the Supreme Court had a draft opinion. That's what they called it, a draft opinion to overturn abortion rights. Now, this is how they phrased it. And if you read the writ, but it's caused enough of a stir that nationwide in the United States, there is a shitstorm happening right now all about Roe v. Wade and the future of women's right to choose. But Stuart, that's not the story itself.
No. All right, David, I got to jump in. I can barely hold myself back.
Can't contain yourself. Hey, nobody.
First of all, to all women and men out there that are either pro-life or pro-abortion, it has nothing to do with this. First and foremost, in all 50 states, exists a law. If it endangers the mother, the abortion can take place. This isn't about abortion or women's rights to choose either. In fact, the issue goes back to the 14th Amendment. Has nothing to do with Roe v. Wade either. It has to do with the right that every state has the right to choose. Now, if you want to go back to a 1960 pro-life type mentality, I can go back to a 1960 women's rights to vote in this country. So to be honest with you, this has little or nothing to do with Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade on the surface and inside the fat of the bill has a lot of problems and should actually have never have passed. However, women should have always had the right. And the right has limits. The same way Kevorkian got arrested, right? The same way, you can now have a gay marriage. I mean, there is progression in the world. So again, it's not about Roe v. Wade anymore. Roe v. Wade is out of date, serves no purpose. It conflicts with the 14th Amendment. Every state has the right to make its own rules and laws. If you want to live in California and have men going into the women's bathrooms, good for you. If you're in Montreal, Quebec, and you want your 7-year-old daughter to be accompanied by any man that walks in the bathroom, good for you. But unfortunately, that's not where we're at in this world. And moreover, it's just trying to blow up the issue like an anti-gay bill that didn't exist in Florida. The whole entire concept that someone leaked part of the Supreme Court wasn't even about Roe v. Wade. It's about dismantling the United States of America, ripping it down from one branch of office to the other, eviscerating it. And let me tell you something, anarchy is created by creating chaos, right? Let me tell you something, chaos. If the Supreme Court doesn't have the right to operate the way it's operated since its inception, 250 years, we wouldn't have women's rights to vote, women's rights to work, employment. You wouldn't have had ERISA. You've had nothing, right? So if you want to rip apart the United States, you got to start with the Supreme Court. And this is exactly what the left has done because they have no other narrative. If they don't get you stop talking about politics, if they don't get you stop talking about Biden, how about Pelosi, or how about Warren, right? Elizabeth Warren, man, I think we should talk about her education and the funding that she stole from American taxpayers. But again, it's a draft, right? A draft is a working product. And if you actually spent the time to understand what a draft is, then maybe you spent about 5 minutes looking at the Wikipedia page, for crying out loud. I can tell you that this Roe v. Wade, if you read this 57 pages, which isn't exactly a legal brief, okay? But it'll give you a really good idea how the 7-2 dissent came about and what their basis was. Now, this work product that takes you through the arguments is how the Supreme Court people talk about things. Now, they challenge each other, devil's advocate. They have to push each other to come up with the right decision, not just for today, but for years to come. Because the implications of what the Supreme Court rulings are, and they have been overturned in history, is not to make them so they can be overturned, like Roe v. Wade should be overturned. But again, Roe v. Wade and abortion rights are not synonymous with each other because every state has the right to do so. And if you don't like the rules in the state you're in, get the fuck out. Because I know how many people have moved out of California, San Francisco, and LA specifically, because they can't stand the politics. They can't stand the overtaxation. How many New Yorkers have gotten out? But yet
Stuart,
the violence that they're inciting globally is ridiculous.
So let's slow down just a second here, okay? And let's talk about how life has changed. Okay, let's talk about how life has changed. In 1973, okay, let's talk about women's rights. Hardly
1970 it started, arguably.
Right, no, but I'm saying that the passing of this, it happened in 1973. So we're talking 50 years. So 50 years ago, very male-dominated society. Politics was very male-dominated. You hardly had women in power anywhere. And this comes through. The document fit its time. But since 1973, states have made their own policies, Stuart, okay? So let's talk very quickly what we're talking about here. 38 states require an abortion to be performed by a licensed physician. 19 performed in a hospital after specific, and going on and on and on and on and on. Every state has put in its own touch. The United States of America is a unification of 50,
it's a republic.
It's a republic.
No, it's a republic.
Right. It's 50 individual bodies that are working collaboratively. At times, it's the federal government, and at times, it's the state.
Which is why the 14th Amendment is why I mentioned it.
So the problem is because, and as a Canadian, I'm sitting here going, ladies and gentlemen, in the United States, take your time and understand your own freaking laws and how things work. Okay, a policy and a writ that was done in 1973 must be reviewed regularly, and it's not the first time. This is actually, I think, the fourth time, if I remember correctly, that it's being reviewed. It doesn't eliminate women's rights. It's not the divisive policy that, of course, the Democrats, the left, and the hardcore crazies want to make you believe. The opposite. They're trying to empower the states to make it much better. Now, here's the kicker. The belief is that the only Republican states want to abolish abortion. False. False. It is untrue. There are Democratic states that are looking at it. There are Republican states that want to keep it. It's the other statement is that it's only men that want to eliminate abortion. Kristi Noem is the governor of North Dakota, ladies and gentlemen. She is considering repealing abortion because she, in her state, the belief is it's wrong. And we're not allowed to believe in it. Now, the thing that throws me even further for a loop is the reaction. And this is why I was talking about, is this a civil war about to happen? Since you and I have started these rants, Stuart, we've seen nothing but these conflicts. We had Black Lives Matter thrown in there. We've had other things thrown in here. And here's another one to throw into it. Why violence? Okay? Los Angeles, once again, the beacon they talk about of liberalism. Protesters lobbed rocks and bottles at cops, smashed cruisers, the whole 9 yards. Once again, this is acceptable. Without understanding the rules, without understanding what was happening, without understanding the source of where it was happening, without understanding the implications, we threw
David, idiots watch editorial news and think for whatever reason there's some sort of reality to it. And I'll be honest with you, David, it's like the anti-gay bill that Disney said existed.
Stop calling it an anti-gay bill. It's not an anti-gay bill. And
I understand. No, David, I'm repeating what I said. It's no different than the anti-gay bill that DeSantis came up with that never existed. But the world was focused on that. DeSantis said it's an anti-gay bill. There are stupid people in this world that have medical degrees, have doctorates in rocket science, that are dumber than the $3 bill that doesn't exist. And it's mind-boggling because you don't need to be a political scientist to understand the facts.
And you know the fascinating thing, and Lisa, you're calling the Democratic Party the knee-jerk party. It starts with the president. And you should hear how people say, he's so eloquent today. He speaks so much from the heart. Joe Biden opposed Roe v. Wade when he was in Senate.
Yep.
Do not confuse where the source is, folks. Please. Okay? The man's a bloody politician. He's a chameleon, and he's going to swing whatever way he has to. And right now, he's trying to appeal to his hardcore left base by creating anarchy where there is none. There was no anarchy in Florida. There is no anarchy over here. It's just reality of how laws work. And to say today and to allege the changes that the Supreme Court wanted, by the way, does anybody remember Ruth Bader Ginsburg? She did not want to overturn Roe v. Wade, but she was very clear. Don't screw with the judicial system. Don't. And yet, this is what they want to do. Now the left says, because this is, okay, these are Trump-appointed justices, they're screwing with women, we need to rebalance and restructure by putting 2 more liberals there.
Listen, I don't know. Listen, I talk to lawyers all day long, David, and I got a lot of lawyers as clients, and I'm not giving legal advice. But I haven't heard any of them speak any differently. Whoever leaked this out of the Supreme Court not only should be disbarred, but should be criminally charged for what they actually did, because they're releasing private, confidential government documents. You're not allowed. Nope. It's not only about your license to practice law, it's about the right to work in the Supreme Court, the highest court in the world.
Right. And you know what? To hear how they're making this into issue, okay?
That they have no choice. They need to deflect from the facts.
Right. But here's the thing, right? Biden's failing as a president. So let's bring up let's create anarchy. Let's create where there's stuff. So again, Republicans are racists. Conservatives hate women. Okay.
No. Right. Here's a good one. Russia says Jews. Right,
Forget it.
I mean, it's just normal.
Stuart, no, but the point is that in this particular case, again, the Bidenites and the Democrats and the left and the squads of this world only want to distract from the realities. They only want to distract from the fact that there is no issue here just yet. Make the issue when there is an issue, and don't tell me, oh, we're preempting. Give me a break. You're not preempting anything. This is the normal way that the Supreme Court of the United States works on all laws. If you don't like it, leave. But this is the way it works.
Hey, just like all the New Yorkers vacating New York City, all of the Californians that are vacating California, you don't like it where you are, you don't like the laws, the rules, the crime, get lost.
Move. And
let's go.
Don't be.
And it's not about abortion.
And by the way, exactly. Let's be real here. And ladies and gentlemen, this will cause the civil war I'm referring to. But
I just want to know, David, are we going to get shot down again on YouTube for saying something?
Bring it on, for crying out loud, because you know what? I am sick and tired of being told oh no, you can't express yourself. They could say fiction. They could bring up any kind of fiction that they want. And when we're telling people, be goddamn careful, because you are on your way to a civil war with issues like that, man.
I got a closing statement. I got a Starbucks coffee bet with a guy named Jesse O that Twitter will be sold and it will be done. And when that does, this whole playing field changes, David. I'm so excited.
It's not about Twitter. It's about the fact that you've got media houses that have found their new COVID, and the new COVID is this.
Roe v. Wade.
It's Roe v.
Time,
Wade.
David.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be equally as passionate on Friday.
Oh, we will.
And we hope that you join us then. Wishing you a wonderful week. Stay well.